Morant with a running start. Elevate! Dunks! Oh my goodness! Tie game in overtime. Gasol will turn his heat. It's gone! Memphis on top. 7-10 remaining. Conley now with three. Count it! A 15-point lead for Memphis. And Blake Griffin gets into it on the floor with Randolph. Hard to tell if there are any punches being thrown under there, but Griffin took acceptance. Adams going long. Morant! He hit it! John Morant, insanity!
You gotta be kidding me.
Welcome to Grits and Grinds, a Memphis Grizzlies podcast. My name is Keith Parrish, and I am here in Las Vegas to cover the Grizzlies at NBA Summer League. If you're watching this on YouTube, you've noticed it's going to look a little bit different this week. I am definitely not at home, but today's episode probably going to be a little bit short. The Grizzlies are taking on the Kings in about 5 hours from now, 6 hours from now or so. So hopefully you'll get this episode before that game occurs. But I thought I would give a little bit of an update and also talk about the Grizzlies' last game they played in the Utah Summer League. Before we get to all of that, just a word from the sponsor, SeatGeek. SeatGeek takes the confusion out of buying tickets. They have a easy-to-use, color-coded app that shows you whenever you're getting a great deal on tickets. So if you need tickets for any event, including NBA Summer League, go to SeatGeek. And if you're a new user, you can use my promo code FASTBreakBreak and get $20 off your first purchase. That's FASTBreakBreak, same as my Twitter handle, and get $20 off at SeatGeek. By the way, I assume most of you follow me on social media, on Twitter at FastBreakBreak. If you don't, you should definitely this week. I'll be giving a lot of thoughts and reactions to everything I see in Las Vegas. But right now, of course, the Grizzlies have turned their attention to Las Vegas. They actually added 2 more players to their Summer League roster for the Vegas portion of Summer League. They added Lucas Williamson and Drew Pember. Lucas Williamson, he played on the Hustle last season, a 6'4" guard. He was sub 40% from the field in the G League, including 32% from three. Drew Pember is a 24-year-old, 6'11" rookie. He's originally from Knoxville. He started his college career at the University of Tennessee. He then transferred to UNC Asheville. Some draft big boards that I saw this year had him as like a second round option, about that tier of player. He apparently maybe is more of your modern big. He can move pretty well, maybe can pass a little bit. So I'm a little excited to see if he gets any playing time in Vegas, maybe a little bit more so than seeing Lucas Williamson play. Sorry, Lucas. As far as the wrap-up game in Salt Lake City, the Grizzlies lost a close one to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and that game, I think, mainly was notable for us Grizzlies fans based on who did not play. Zach Edey did not play. He was held out along with Jake LaRavia. Both of them had minor ankle soreness. So no Zach Edey, no LaRavia, and then Cam Spencer and Jaylen Wells were both given the game off because they played in the first 2 Summer League games in Salt Lake City. So because of that, the enthusiasm for watching that game definitely waned, but there still was some good stuff from that game. Gii Jackson at least played. Scotty Pippen Jr. played again. So with no Edey, Wells, or Spencer or LaRavia, the starters for that game were Scotty Pippen Jr., Deke Giroux, Gii Jackson, Timmy Allen, and Trey Jemison. And Gigi bounced back from his first game in Salt Lake City, the 0 for 10 from 3 game. He made 3 3-pointers in this one, ended up 3 for 7 from deep, finished with 18 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals. He had 6 turnovers, not ideal. As far as the threes that went in for him, a couple of them, the first 2 were corner threes that were well assisted, wide open, kind of in the run of play, and those are obviously great looks. He hit those. The times they seemed to run set plays for him, maybe those threes are a little bit more difficult. He did miss all of those, but then he made a pretty deep top of the key three in the fourth quarter as the Grizzlies tried to stay close. I mean, they did stay close. This game was back and forth the whole game. The Thunder finally got up by like 8 or so in the final 3 minutes, but then the Grizzlies cut it down to a single possession. They had a chance to tie it. Scotty Pippen Jr. got a decent look on a step-back corner three, but it came up just short. But Gigi, I thought, rebounded well from that first game. Pippen, he was only 1 out of 8 from 3. He was 5 for 11 on his 2-pointers, so that's 6 for 19 overall. He scored 17 points, had 5 assists, 3 steals, and 2 turnovers. He did all the point guard things right, in my mind. He played good on-the-ball defense. He was running the offense just fine, just a lot of the shots weren't going in. The overall maybe team story for this game, outside of the guys who did not play, was the Grizzlies just struggled from the three-point line. Once again, stop me if you've heard that before. The Grizzlies were 5 for 27 on three-pointers. That is 19%. In the loss to the Jazz, they were 7 for 36 on three-pointers. That is also 19%. In the win against the Sixers, they were 8 for 25, 32%. That's basically on fire for the Grizzlies. So three-point shots not going down. But despite, I think, the mediocre shooting from Pippen and the not ideal shooting, but it was still pretty good from Gii Jackson, those two guys played pretty well, I thought. As far as the other starters, Trey Jemison had a huge game. He got 8 more offensive rebounds. He's been absolutely crushing the offensive glass in Utah. He also scored the ball well in this one. Lots of those second chance opportunities, but he finished 9 out of 12 from the field. So 20 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist for Trey Jemison. Diki Giroux did not have that great of a game. He was only 1 out of 10 from the field. He missed all 4 of his three-point attempts. Three-point shooting, not really his thing. In the previous game where he went 5 out of 10 from the field, he didn't take any three-pointers. In this one, he missed all 4 of those three-point attempts. He did have 8 rebounds. You know, he's going to fill up that stat sheet. Had 3 assists, also 3 turnovers. It seemed like he was running a bit more point guard in this one. They were running Pippen off the ball a little bit, so Diki ended up handling the ball maybe a little bit more. And then Timmy Allen had a really good game. Timmy Allen, who obviously played on the Grizzlies last year as part of the Grizzlies team, which used the most players in NBA history. Timmy Allen had 17 points. He had 3 assists, had 3 rebounds. I don't know how really to describe even Timmy Allen's game. Like, he's a very good all-around player for this level, but it's hard to say exactly what he excels at, and I even struggle coming up with what I think a good player comp is for Timmy Allen based on my limited exposure of him, because he is not very big and he's not really a great shooter, but he just does stuff. Honestly, he's sort of akin to Lamar Stevens, not in their playing styles necessarily, but he's a bit of a tweener in his size, and he doesn't have a clear-cut, like, great skill, but he's just a solid overall player. Maybe the notable swing skill for him is the shooting, and he did actually make a three-pointer, which of course is a big deal for the Grizzlies, but he was only 1 out of 4 from the three-point line. Now for the bench guys, not much to speak of. The Grizzlies only played 8 players, as has been their habit so far through 3 Summer League games. They just mainly relied on their starters. They play their starters heavy minutes. They play their bench guys just a little bit. Like Freddie Gillespie played the most minutes of anybody off the bench with 21, and he scored 1 point. He had 6 rebounds. He had 2 blocks. His 1 point was when he got fouled trying to rebound, and Timmy Allen completed a layup, and thus it was like one of those three-point play things where then Gillespie went to the line to finish up that three-point play. That was his only point. Kyle Kaslan played 20 minutes. He missed all 4 of his shots. He did not score. He has missed all 6 of his field goal attempts so far at Summer League. DJ Jeffries, he had 2 points, 2 turnovers, 3 fouls, and a steal in 9 minutes of playing time. And that basically wraps it up, I guess, for the Utah Summer League. We now, of course, turn our attention to the Las Vegas Summer League, which has, I guess, way more overall eyes on it. I think people are super excited to see the Grizzlies play at Summer League. I think nationally, perhaps, there's a buzz about Zach Edey. I mean, my personal experiences based on being in Las Vegas for, less than 24 hours, and of course, it's not a comprehensive overview of what people are thinking about, but like just talking to the people I know and then running into acquaintances and just talking, the first thing people bring up is Zach Edey. Everyone is thrilled based on the first game that Zach Edey played, and people who know I cover the Grizzlies, they're like, whoa, Zach Edey, this could be great. Him setting those screens for Ja is going to be huge. So I think there is a palpable energy about the Grizzlies' selection of Zach Edey. And there's no question Zach Edey looked good in that first game, but like he was playing a center who is a traditional inside player. What's it going to look like when he plays a stretch big? What's it going to look like when the teams try to isolate against him? I don't know, but I do think in Summer League, it's going to look good whenever he plays. He's not going to be that tested, I don't think. We're not going to see many of the weaknesses. So watching Zach Edey should be a lot of fun, and that's what everyone is crossing their fingers they're going to see. There probably is still some nervousness that Edey will not play against the Kings on Friday, but I don't know. I don't have any inside information. I haven't seen any reports from Mike Wallace or anybody who's really close with the Grizzlies right now out here in Vegas. So hopefully Edey plays. I looked at the gambling lines, and again, you should not gamble on Summer League. But the Grizzlies were favored by 2 earlier this morning on Friday, and they're favored by 4 now. So if there were any insider information out there, that leans towards maybe Edey's going to play, because you see the Grizzlies getting favored by more and more as the day goes on. Other things to talk about, I guess, as I can wrap up this very short episode. I thought this was notable. Maybe not. But as someone who closely watches all the Grizzlies games, these are the kinds of things I notice. On the bench, the players not on the bench in Salt Lake City, they've been wearing these white Grizzlies hoodies. Now, I first noticed Gii Jackson wearing one, and then the next game, or the third game in Salt Lake City, Jake LaRavia and somebody else on the bench was wearing them. Like 2 guys were wearing the same thing. So it's like, oh, that's like a team-issued hoodie. That's not a big deal that players would wear a team-issued Grizzlies hoodie, but these white hoodies, or maybe they're cream, they're Vancouver Grizzlies hoodies. They have the Vancouver Grizzlies logo, so that's like a throwback, and again, that sort of tips the hand to what we're all anticipating, that with the 30th anniversary season coming up, they're going to do lots of the Vancouver throwback stuff. So maybe it's nothing, but it seemed like the team has some Vancouver Grizzlies team-issued hoodies that they're giving to everybody at Summer League. And finally, I guess maybe we turn our attention back to the main roster and the Luke Kennard situation that is still unresolved. Perhaps this week, Luke Kennard does get signed by the Grizzlies. Chris Harrington on the radio in Memphis said that he still feels like that's going to happen. And so I trust Chris there on that. And if you think back to years past, a lot of times Grizzlies deals have happened at Summer League. Kyle Anderson signed his deal with the Grizzlies at Summer League. Now, that was a free agent thing, a restricted free agent thing. But like Tyus Jones, I'm pretty sure Tyus Jones, when he re-signed with the Grizzlies, I think that occurred in Las Vegas. At the very least, Tyus Jones has definitely signed a contract in Las Vegas before. So maybe Luke Kennard could be out here, and maybe they will finally take care of that business. And Luke's been squeezed in the market, so it will be super interesting to see what kind of deal that Luke's representatives feel comfortable with and that Zach Kleiman is willing to offer as you see the free agent money dry up. There just isn't really money out there anymore. The Jazz have space. The Jazz, most people think, are going to use their space to go ahead and work on a Lauri Markkanen extension and pay him early, like work that out and use their cap space on that. I mean, they could add another shooter. Who knows? But it doesn't seem like there's a market right now for Kennard. Also, Gary Trent Jr., maybe a comparable player who is currently without a deal. And with that, I think that's everything I need to talk about. Of course, news can break at any time in the summer. I'm recording this from a hotel room. I've got to go over to the gym to get posted up for all of the Summer League games today. So I will end it there. If you want to support this show, you can do that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. In that Patreon Slack, I will be listing lots of my observations that are not fit for public consumption. So if you want a little bit more insider look at the things I see and the people I run into, also at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast, I release one bonus episode a month that is exclusively for the supporters. So if that interests you, consider supporting the show, patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. And with that, I will say I'm headed over to the gym. Oh, by the way, if you're at Summer League, come find me. If you find me at Summer League and prove you're a listener, got a little treat for you. I got some Vince Williams Jr. cards I'm going to give away to anyone who says hey. Anyways, I'll talk to you soon. Hope you have a great day. Go Grizz.